Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Everyone, welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for joining us on today's program. We have another one of our special edition shows for you today. Our guest is going to be Etowah County Sheriff Todd Entrekin, and we're going to talk about the upcoming election with the primaries coming up on June the 5th here in East Alabama, and we'll have that for you in just a moment. But we want to remind you that if you have an idea for the show and have something happening in your community that you'd like to have featured on the show, we want to talk to you. Simply send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. We want to know about the things that are happening in your community and in your neck of the woods. You guys are our eyes and ears out on the street, so you know more about what happens in your neighborhood than I do. So send me an email about what's going on. Fairs, festivals, special events, things like that. And remember, if you ever want to go back and look at an archived copy of East Alabama Today, very simple to do. You can go to our website, tv24.tv, go to the on-demand section, click on East Alabama Today, and there you'll find an archive of several weeks worth of our East Alabama Today programs that you could go back and look at again at your convenience on your computer, your phone, your laptop, your mobile device, whatever you'd like to do. You can find it there at tv24.tv. We'll be back in just a moment with Etowah County Sheriff Todd Entrekin. Hello again and welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady. Thank you for being with us on our program. It's my pleasure to welcome to East Alabama Today the Sheriff of Etowah County, Alabama, Mr. Todd Entrekin. Todd, great to have you on the program again.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you for having me here today.
It's been quite a while since we've done a program like this together. We've done lots of interviews and things like that over your tenure as sheriff. First time it was in 2009 when you were appointed sheriff.
2007.
2007. That was one of the first interviews was with me on this show, East Alabama Today, and so we've had quite a run since then. Talk a little bit about since that time and how things have progressed for you in the sheriff's office.
Well, since 2007, as I come in as a brand new sheriff, being appointed after the untimely passing away of Sheriff Hayes, there's been a lot change at the sheriff's office. I mean, we have done a lot. We've grown a lot. We've been through a lot at the sheriff's office. We fought a lot of battles. We've seen immigration, with the detainees of immigration, nearly leave us on a couple of times, and we've had to fight with to save that. Well, we've seen a lot of things. Crime's changed so much. I mean, the drug crimes have changed from back in the day when I took over, crack and methamphetamine, and now we're looking at how much heroin's back on our streets and the amount of overdoses, and things have changed in law enforcement in just the last 10 years, especially over 36 years that I've been in law enforcement.
All right, you've been doing this for quite a long time. Talk a little bit about before you became sheriff. You were a deputy, an investigator, working with the drug task force kind of things. So talk about that.
Well, I did. I started out, right out of high school, graduated in science from high school, and I started out with the sheriff's office just a very short time after that as a reserve deputy. I was a reserve deputy for about 6 months, and I was able, under the late Sheriff Roy McDowell, hired me as a deputy sheriff and served in that capacity for a good while. When we got in financial trouble again, the sheriff's office did, and I had to go back and work in dispatch for a little while and then come back out, and my career really begun. I was a patrol deputy on night shift for a long time, and then Sheriff Hayes was elected, and I moved through the ranks as a narcotics investigator and worked a lot of criminal investigations, worked some of our real major crimes during the time, and come through the ranks to end up as his chief deputy through a long career there, and saw a lot of good changes and all, and things go on during the sheriff's office. Was part of a lot of good stuff, and now until the point where, like I say, the untimely death of Sheriff Hayes, and Governor Riley appointed me to be sheriff.
That experience of having started out on the bottom rung and working your way up gives you a unique insight into what it's like to be an employee of the sheriff's office, and that helps you to be a better boss to your employees, right?
Well, I think so. I come to the sheriff's office, probably 35, 36 employees total. That's it. That was deputy sheriffs, investigators, clerks, and correctional officers. You know, so now we're with our reserves and all that, we're over 200. You know, we had about 165, 67 regular employees, but now, you know, with all of our reserves and all that, it puts us well over 200 employees. You know, and a jail that held 140 people down to a jail that holds, you know, 1,000 people. So
yeah,
that's a big difference in 30-something years to see and be a part of. You know, and I worked in every area of it. You know, I worked in the old jail, and I've seen how it all began. I was there when the new jail was built.
Yeah, that's right.
And when the old jail was tore down, the new one was built. I was there. I saw every day, you know, what they done, and you know, here we are now. All these years later, we're having to renovate the jail. You know, we're starting a new $15 million renovation of the jail immediately.
Wow.
You know, in the next 30 days, we should be a full operation of renovating our jail that we're currently in.
I imagine there's a lot of wear and tear that goes on in the detention center.
Yeah, you can only imagine your own home, you know, the wear and tear in your home. So imagine a correction facility that's got people that don't take care of it, they're not going to take care of it, and how it wears and tears, and you know, and the jail's been through a lot, seen a lot, and now it's time to redo it.
Talk about how the immigration contract has impacted the sheriff's office and the detention center. You added floors, that kind of thing. Talk about what kind of an impact that has had on the office and the community.
Well, the great part of the immigration being in our facility, it did. You know, we had to add floors. We did have to add a lot, but we were going to add anyway to the jail our female population. We built the jail. It wasn't fixed a house, but like 20 female inmates. You know, then our population of methamphetamine hit, and our female population skyrocketed, and so we were going to have to build that onto the jail. So we was able to put all that together and build onto the jail, add the 325, 30 beds for immigration, and was able to add 100 beds for females at the time. And all that we was able to pay for that, you know, through the federal government doing what they call a CAP program, where they paid for the expansion of the jail for the immigration side, but with the monies that we were bringing in and generating for housing federal inmates, we was able to pay, you know, for the addition for the females too. And again, that program has added probably some 80 jobs to the county and the sheriff's office.
Wow.
Combined, that in Etowah County at this time, 80 jobs is a lot.
That is.
It brings in a lot of money that the county don't have to put back into the sheriff's office and to fund the jail that they would have to otherwise. So it's been a great program.
So you have roughly 300 detainees on a daily basis that are on hold there for immigration. Is that correct?
We do. We try to. They try to keep us around 320, but we average out probably shows around 300 inmates.
Okay. Enforcement programs. You know, immigration is at the top of the news almost every day. How does that affect what you guys do at the detention center with the immigration? Well,
we're lucky that we applied early on when they come out with a thing called 287G program, and the 287G is just what the law, how it goes into the law. But what that does, it gives our correction officers, our correction deputies, when somebody is brought in and booked into the jail, they determine right then their legal status in the country.
Right.
Or if they're a Middle Easterner, if they're a Hispanic, Honduras, whatever, then they determine immediately whether they're here legally or not, and they write the case. We don't have to call a customs enforcement agency or whatever. We write the case and turn it over to them, and that proceeds through the federal system at that time. And we're the only jail in Alabama that has that program.
Let's go back talking about employees a little bit. You've been able to give raises, do specialized training. You've done some restructuring this year. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we were having a real big problem in retaining employees. As law enforcement is nationwide, they're having a big problem. We were lucky to work with our legislators, and we were able to give our enforcement side of the House a substantial pay raise. We were able to get that, and that's been able to really show our retention is just, we're losing 1 or 2 a year now where we were losing 8 or 10. And it's made a huge difference now. We're able to hold deputies that are getting seniority, that are doing a great job, and we're able now to pull from other agencies where before they were all taking ours. As soon as we were the training grounds.
You train them and then they go somewhere else.
We were training and lose them. So now we're being able to get some good senior officers, some guys that with some experience to come to work for us and retain them. Now, on the other hand, that's on the enforcement side of the house. You know, we're still struggling on the correction side of the house, and we're working with that. We're working with our legislators and the commission to get that. We've just recently got a few more positions in there for promotions to give some people the opportunity, but we're working to get the pay where it needs to be there. Again, nationwide, statewide, you look at the Department of Corrections, they're advertising every day. You know, we're advertising every day. It's just hard to get people to work in the conditions that we're putting them in with the criminals that we have today and the pay.
And whether it's in corrections or deputies on the street, law enforcement is becoming a more and more dangerous job every day. How do you approach that with people who have an interest in law enforcement? How do you provide them with as much training and protection as possible?
Well, that is true. You know, I mean, there's law enforcement officers getting ambushed every day. I think just today I'd heard of several that have been shot across the nation today. And, you know, and that's a real concern. It's a real concern to us. You know, we're really, since we've got the immigration money that we've been able to use, we're training our deputies better. We're providing them with better equipment. We've got a new facility that we're using, and we've continuing education is ongoing every day for them. So we're really bringing our deputies we're getting the equipment they need, and we're getting them the training they need.
All right, very good. Well, we need to take a quick commercial break, so we'll do that and come back in just a moment as we visit more with Sheriff Todd Entrekin of Etowah County. We'll be back. Well, welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady, and my guest is Etowah County Sheriff Todd Entrekin, who is running for re-election in Etowah County, subject to the primary coming up on June 5th. And Sheriff, again, welcome to the program. Happy to have you here with us, as always. We were talking about employees of your office and retaining employees, getting them raises, and things that you can do to have good employees and happy employees who enjoy working for the sheriff's office, and you must have some good relationships there, because you've gotten some very important endorsements from some of the labor unions.
Yes, we have, and that's great for us. I think that means a lot coming out of Etowah County with the labor unions endorsing me for my re-election as sheriff. But the reason they have endorsed me is because we have done so much for our employees. You know, we 2 sessions ago, we introduced a bill for a personnel board for the sheriff's office. You know, before they were represented by a personnel board that represented all the county employees. And it just, mainly the way it was written, it represented the Monday through Friday employees with the weekends off and not 24/7. So we were able to get this through in a constitutional amendment statewide, by a statewide vote, which I would have never believed we could have got through, but we did. And the people of Alabama voted it through, and it's been great. You know, now we have a sheriff's personnel board. All the legislators have an appointment on it, along with me as the sheriff. And this board now handles promotions. It handles demotions. It handles any personnel matter. The employee can file grievances with it. It gives them a voice that they've never had. Right. And I think it is great. You know, I come from a background of labor, and I think it just makes a lot to be able for the employees to have a voice, and that's what this personnel board does. It's going to help us in retaining employees. It's going to help us in getting their salaries where it needs to be, and even the year that we've had them in effect, it's already made a difference. Yeah,
very good. But you know, in the media here lately, there have been a lot of things about a couple of subjects that have just kind of been pervasive in the media, and that's school safety and the heroin and opioid crisis that we're going through all over the country. Well, let's talk about school safety. You have been a big proponent of school safety. You have worked very closely with the school system in Etowah County, and you've got SROs out all over the county. Talk about your SRO program and why that's important to you, and why that has been a focus of your tenure.
Well, you know, we've had SROs for a long time. But in the last 4 years, we've been able to add 3 more. You know, we still have some schools that are uncovered. We do have SROs that go there every day, but they have to split between a couple of schools, which, you know, that's not what we want to do. We want to see a SRO in every school. That's our ultimate goal, and that's what we're working toward. But we know how funding is. The Board of Education funding is tied along with the Sheriff's Office funding and the commissions. So we've got to work for ways. We're hoping to see the federal government and state government come back with more funding to give us more funding and grants. You know, we'll go after any grant that's out there, and we'll find ways to get SROs in these schools. We want to have them there. Right now we have a great partnership with the Board of Education. We meet probably bi-weekly right now at round tables. We bring in all the parties together that need to be in the rooms to talk about school safety. We're bringing the mental health experts in. We're bringing in DHR. We're bringing in juvenile court system with the district attorney, along with the Board of Education and all administrators. And we've had some great meetings, and we've come a long way in the last 6 months with what we've been doing.
And it takes a collaborative effort like that. Lots of ideas, lots of people putting forth ideas, and then just gleaning through that and coming up with the best approach possible.
It's got to be all of us working together. Not one person can do this alone. We've got to do this as a whole group that has our children's safety as our priority.
And one thing you do is a lot of training that involves the schools and the kids as well. The active shooter training, things like that, that happen in the schools and involve all of those stakeholders. Talk about those kind of training.
Well, we do. Every year we go to a different school and we do an active shooter drill. You know, we teach run, hide, fight in all of our schools, which is a very great program to have them to know what to do in case of an active shooter. But then we go out to these schools and we put these programs on in a scenario situation, and it's amazing to see how the students react, how the teachers react, and from the things that they've been taught, what they do. And we'll continue to do that. We look forward to doing more of that. We're training our deputies and, you know, active shooter. We got a class going on today in Gadsden teaching them about active shooter drills and getting them to the next levels. And we'll have all of our deputies going through that again.
And not only your deputies, but I've noticed with some of the training events that I've been to that we've covered on the news, it's really a community effort. The alert training that was going on yesterday, you had police officers from Altoona and Glencoe along with your deputies all working together and training together. So you're not just training your deputies, but you're training other people as well.
Yeah, we work with everybody. We know if there is a situation that happens, we want everybody to be trained. It's not going to be just deputy sheriffs that roll up on that scene. Right. It could be a state trooper, it could be a game warden, it could be, you know, any of the local municipalities. So we want everybody to be trained the same way to know how to react when they go into that active shooter situation.
Now, talking about students, you also have a program that I've enjoyed covering, the Student Leadership Academy. You have high school students who come and spend a week with you guys and learn what a job in law enforcement is like, and I think they all enjoy that.
Well, that's a great program. We started it about 7 years ago, and right after I became sheriff, and this program has been one of our favorites for all of us because we bring in, you know, incoming seniors during the summer. They do spend a week with us, and they get every aspect of law enforcement. But what we're looking at is these are leaders in our community. We're just giving them this week to do some stuff that they may never get to do again in their life. Right. And we're not looking to recruit these people. We're looking to build leaders for our community. And we've had some great graduates. I mean, we've had them go on to all the military institutions. We've had them to go through the Ivy League colleges. We've got some great leaders that's been through that, and we're looking forward to the class coming through here in June.
That's always a fun program, and identifying these kids as leaders that early, giving them the tools and the confidence to move forward with whatever career path they choose is extremely important. We're starting to run low on time. Let's talk about, you mentioned earlier that when you, early in your career, the main concern was methamphetamine and things like that. That has changed and moved into massive amounts of heroin coming into the area, opioids, we're hearing about all of these things. How do you as a sheriff change that focus and adjust with the times and try to stay ahead of the bad guys when these things happen?
Well, I guess I think my benefit of being here so long and working, most of my career was in narcotics. You know, I done most of my enforcement time. I worked the streets in narcotics. I made a lot of drug arrests, run a lot of undercover operations, and run some of the bigger cases we ever made in Etowah County. But it's sad to see that it's still here. You know, and when I first started, heroin was here, but it went away. And we dealt with crack cocaine, we dealt with methamphetamine, we dealt with opioids beginning as far as pills, but now we're back to on the streets of heroin. You know, we're responding to overdoses every day. You know, we were the first agency in Alabama to implement the Narcan in our patrol cars. You know, that our deputies started carrying it.
And that's the antidote that your deputies, the first responders, can give in case of an overdose.
In case of overdose. And we administer it quite regularly. And now throughout the state, a lot of agencies are carrying it, which I think is great. Because, you know, if we save one life, that's great. But we've saved a lot of lives, our deputies have, by administering Narcan. But still, we've got to address this. And the whole issue is mental health.
Really?
You know, our mental health in the state of Alabama is as bad as it's ever been, with our hospitals closing, the funding. They give some more money this year, but not near enough. You know, we see it on the streets in Etowah County now, the number of homeless people. Other night at 4 o'clock in the morning, we're dealing with a mentally disturbed person that we carried to the hospital, and the hospital refused to take him because he's so mentally disturbed, and they couldn't do anything with him. So we had to bring him to jail. And jails aren't a place for mentally ill people.
Right.
They're not. That's not what we're set up for. But the Etowah County Jail now is the #1 mental health facility in Etowah County. That's where they all end up at.
Wow.
We have a medical staff there that does a great job. We have, you know, to administer a lot of psychotropic drugs, which that's fine, but it's very costly to the county. But when these people get back out on the street, they go right back to the opioids and the alcohol and whatever else to self-medicate themselves. And that's a problem. That's nationwide it's a problem, but here at home it's a big problem too.
And you guys do have, I want to mention this, some really good programs within the jail for substance abuse prevention and trying to keep recidivism down and trying to keep, once these people get out, trying to keep them from coming back. You've got some good programs that you guys run.
Again, too, we like to say we're first in a lot of things in Alabama. We run the only SAP program, substance abuse program inside the jail, which has been great to save taxpayers of Alabama and Etowah County hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. One thing we're kicking off next week is a day reporting system. It'll be kicked off next week where people will be coming out of the jail. They'll be going over to a day reporting system where they report daily to have a substance abuse class. There'll be CED mental health counselors there on site. There'll be people from Gadsden State there trying to help them get jobs. And this will be run through the sheriff's office, and we're kicking this program off next week, and we're real proud of it. It's going to be huge to help get people out of jail, get them back working, and get them back into society where they need to be.
All right, sounds good. Time for another commercial break. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, already we are out of time. It's time to wrap things up here on East Alabama today. And of course, our guest, Sheriff Todd Entrekin from Etowah County, running for re-election. And let's see, you were appointed in 2007, so this will be your third election?
Third election.
Your third time up for election, and the primary will be held on June 5th. Anything you'd like to wrap us up with? Yeah,
I would, and thanks, Carl. You know, I just want everybody to know, you know, this is all I've ever done. I've been with the sheriff's office my whole life. I think I bring to you a long list of things that I've accomplished with the sheriff's office. I think that I am there to serve you. Well, I know I'm there to serve you. I know I can serve you. I know I can bring the sheriff's office further than we have ever come. We're coming through a lot of things right now, a lot of times. We've got to remodel the jail. We've got the opioid crisis. You know, we got our retentions of officers we got to work on. We've got our school safety issues that we need to work for. And I think with my experience that I've been there and I've worked in every one of these fields, that I am the person to lead the sheriff's office the next 4 years. And I do humbly ask for your vote and support on June the 5th.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Sheriff Entrekin. A pleasure to have you with us here on East Alabama today. And folks, a pleasure to have you with us as well. Thanks for joining us.